So I want to say welcome. If you've came here today, you know that your health matters, and we're so glad to have you join our session today. So please allow me to provide a high-level description of our panel of experts. So we are a panel of experts with a diverse group of women from around the globe who are passionate about making a difference in people's life through a holistic approach. We've come together today to help you discover your own inner worth, to allow you to take personal responsibility for your well-being by providing you with insight as well as perspective that can help you as well as your family. So with that being said, I will now ask each one of our panelists to introduce himself. So I'm going to start with Nishi. If you kindly please introduce yourself.
Hi, and thank you so much to the State of the Women on hosting this wonderful panel and all you wonderful women joining me in this discussion, which is so important and has always been important, right? So quickly introducing myself, I am a senior executive in a Fortune 500 engineering company based out of San Francisco, California. But I'm also a certified nutritionist, wellness consultant, and a personal trainer. Basically, my principles depend on being a teacher versus a doctor. Have assimilated certain ways to have sustainable life at all ages. Health does not become important when you first element, right? It's important when I work with my clients that they understand that health is important for us right when we are born and continues to stay important for us and to never, lose sight of that. Provide customized programs on nutrition, wellness, fitness, what have you. To my clients, it's 100% online service, so you don't have to go to a gym or come see me. Very much suited for, wherever we are right now. And I'm very happy to share my views at this panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishi, and appreciate that. And for Janice, if you can just share and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here on this amazing panel with these amazing women, such diverse backgrounds. Obviously, my name is Janice, and I'm known as a Wellness Diva 5.0, and I take that to heart. I started with wellness early in my 40s. Fast forward, I'm a certified wellness coach. I am a podcast host, former personal trainer. And if you had told me 10 years ago that I would fall in love with wellness, and that's what I love about it, to be able to apply what I've learned to help my clients to live a healthier life without going on another diet. Again, thank you, Mo, for hosting this panel. This is great to be here, and I'm excited to have this great conversation with all of you.
I appreciate that, Janice. I think the next panel I would like to have her introduce herself is Larissa, please.
Hey everyone, I'm Larissa Maloney. I am a former professional beach volleyball player. I have a wide range of athletic background, if I could say. I am now the founder and CEO of a company called Active Kids 2.0. We are the best on-demand service providing active classes for mommies and parents, fitness and wellness classes, that is, for the kiddos. So I work with kids ages 3 to 18, and my passion is helping this younger generation figure out that, living a healthy lifestyle, working out doesn't have to be a bad word. It can be fun and adventurous, and trying new crafts and taking that journey of, learning how to live a healthy and positive life and making it a lifestyle rather than a hassle of saying working out. So that's me in a nutshell, and I'm so happy to be here. Mo, thanks for hosting, and thank you to the State of Women for having us in this powerful panel.
I appreciate that. Lovely words. And I think the next individual, Cheryl, if you can just give your introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name's Cheryl, and in my business life, I am CFO at a community health center where I support all of our providers giving healthcare to those regardless of their ability to pay. So I'm very happy that I'm able to work in an environment and use my accounting skills to be able to give health to others. In addition, I host 2 podcasts. My passion podcast is called Hearts of Gold, where I showcase Gold Award Girl Scouts, which is the highest award a Girl Scout can earn, a high school Girl Scout. And they're amazing projects, and they're opportunities that they identified as they grew through their project. But then for this panel, more applicable, I also host Sensory Strides, which is a short form podcast where I reflect on what I'm eating, what I'm reading. But the main focus is my fitness journey, as I set a big goal every year in order to keep myself off the couch. And I am a true back of the packer. I have come in last at a half iron and a 50K trail run. So again, I work it to keep myself motivated. I am not there to earn any prizes.
I like that, Cheryl. I do. And last but not least, Stephanie, please introduce yourself. Hi, Stephanie. I believe you're on mute, dear.
Because I realized I wasn't on mute when everyone else was speaking. Sorry.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Dr. Stephanie Akumani, and I am many things. First, a mom to an amazing 5-year-old who wants to be an astronaut, helping her get there. I'm also a marathoner. I'm a researcher. I am a yogi. Oh my goodness. I'm also the founder and CEO of a company called the Bloom Wellness Lab, where we really work to coach individuals, but particularly schools, nonprofits, and businesses on ways that they can make mindfulness, curiosity, and movement a part of their lives. So we do everything from coaching on how to become a more mindful leader, right? No matter what position you're at, no matter whether you're a youth or an adult. And we work with principals, with teachers, with CFOs, CEOs. And I love it because we're working towards healing all pillars of our society, which I see to be schools, nonprofit, and business. I see those to be the places where we're going to every day, whether now online or in person. And if we're able to heal in each division, we can do it individually and come home together as a family if we do have that type of family, and work together to recognize that no matter what our age and our skills, we can all be more mindful, more curious, and move in the direction that helps us feel like we're answering our calling. And the last component, I'd say a lot of the work we do is around diversity, equity, inclusion, and figuring out how we can infuse mindfulness and wellness into that. Yoga, dance, and curiosity, really thinking about how we can infuse a STEAM curriculum into schools. So we're focusing on not only science, technology, engineering, but also look at the arts and think about how this is going into our workforce later on. So if we're better able to help people figure out who they are and who they want to be, not just academically, but holistically. So that's me, and I'm really excited about being here. And thank you so much to all of the other panelists. And Mo, thank you for organizing this.
I appreciate that. And honestly, thank you all for taking the time to share everything about yourself. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Mo Atkins. I am a certified personal trainer, as well as a health, eating, weight loss coach. I've been in the fitness industry for over 10 years. My niche and who I work with is I help busy women over the age of 30 reclaim their health and become a stronger version of themselves. In addition to that, I am a moderator for this session. On a personal level, I am, I guess like you say, I'm a project manager, certified project manager, and this is my passion. In addition to that, I'm a podcast host as well. I am a fitness competitor, and I'm a nationally qualified powerlifter as well. So like everybody else, we all have different parts of ourselves, and we all love fitness, and we all have our own passion. So I feel like this panel has a lot of energy, a lot of knowledge. And with that said, I know we understand the value of your time for today. So our plan, the panel itself, is not to overwhelm you. We want to basically make you feel comfortable so that you feel like you're in control to move forward and make the changes in your own life. So I'm going to dive in. The way it's going to work is I'm going to ask each panel questions and give them the opportunity to respond. During the time that they are responding, please do not hesitate to ask any questions. There is a chat field. Please ask. I am watching the chat field. In addition to that, we'll be allocating time during each question to answer your question. So again, this is for you. we are coming together with our own diverse experience to ensure that we can provide you with some insight to allow you to make changes going forward. And we want to make sure this is comfortable for you. So I'm going to start. And I think the first question I'm going to ask the panel itself is, why does self-care take first priority in your life? And why, as a mother, should it be priority in your life? So I'm going to start with Janice, and please feel free.
Well, that is a great question, and one that I truly asked myself when my son was younger, because as a young mom way back when, you never have that time to take care of yourself. But as I aged, the reason why you should take care of yourself, think of when you go on the airplane and the flight attendant is giving the instructions, and they say, when the mask comes down, make sure you put it over your own face before you help somebody else. And it's not what I want to tell the young mom out there, and even the moms that are in my respectable age bracket. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is a necessity that helps your overall wellness. You feel great after you take care of yourself. You're able to do more. You feel better. You have that confidence. You have that assurance that, okay, maybe your day may not go as well as planned, but you took the time to take care of yourself, to care for yourself in a respectable manner, and you're able to help so many more people. I could talk forever and ever, but I can't wait to hear the other panelists answer on this question, because we have a great group here. So thank you for allowing me to share that.
I'm sorry about that. So I appreciate that. I think I'm going to ask Larissa to provide her insight in respects to the question, please.
Yes, absolutely. So I am a mom of two, and I have a third one on the way. So self-care is so, so important. And I know the importance of it. And I know what happens when we neglect that, right? So everyone, literally, I'm just being real, everyone in the house suffers if I don't, take that time out for myself. So just like Janice said, you're not being selfish. It is a priority that you do things for yourself, because it not only benefits you, it benefits everyone in the house. So, that feeling, that tension feeling that you get in the house because there needs to be some type of relief, you have to recognize that early enough to make sure you address those issues before, there's a huge breakdown. And when mommy's not happy, guess what? The whole house is not happy. We know that, right? So making sure we recognize that early is so, so important, and making sure we are creating our own routines and things that feel good to us. Morning routines are huge for me, and making sure I'm staying active every day is huge for me, and putting something healthy in my body is huge for me.
And for Nishi, why is it a priority in your life?
Yes. Well, for me, self-care is non-negotiable, right? I gotta show up for yourself every day first. Like Janice and Larissa said, right? You cannot pour from an empty cup. You gotta take care of yourself first. And as a mother, I'm a mother of a teenager, and as a giver, women give. We're born with those genes, right? We're always thinking of our family, our friends, or even our relatives that are not in our house first. That's how we. But we end up taking care of ourselves second or third, or what that list may be for you. If you want to nurture all beautiful, loving people in your life with that optimal love, you have to shower that love on yourself first. Brené Brown said, talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. And I'd say, take care of yourself like you would to someone you want to take care of yourself, right? You've got to put yourself in those shoes. for yourself first. And like Larissa said, when you feel good, everything around you just blossoms. When your body has the right energy, everything around it just becomes a magnetic field. It's like people get drawn in that energy. They feel it even on this video call. I can see all of you smiling because I think I am inserting the right energy. And this is so true. We're all working from home and we're working with our colleagues and our clients. And, sometimes we talk to our kids on the video call, and it's really how you feel. So you really need to invest in that self-care, and there's really no second. That's all I'll say.
Thank you. And just for Stephanie itself, please provide your feedback.
Definitely. I think that self-care is important because if we don't do it, no one can do it for us. It's just like working out. It's, your mom can cook for you, your dad can cook for you, your husband or your partner can cook for you, but only you can take care of yourself in the way that you know is best. And I think it helps us to be more self-reliant. And what I mean by that is like you hold yourself accountable for your own wellness, whereas moms are always holding other people accountable. Like we have to mold our kids and shape them. But when they see us follow our heart, it shows them like how to do it effortlessly. Sometimes what we do speaks more than what we say, because we can say like, oh, eat your vegetables or take a nap, but did they ever see us take a nap? You know what I mean? So I think it goes both ways. That it definitely helped me, and it helps my clients. And it's fulfilling because it's like you do come up, you're like this phoenix rising, you just feel like a new person, even with like 5 minutes of meditation. And then you, in fact, teach your kids. Like the last thing I'll say, the most beautiful thing for me is watching my daughter take on the self-care regimens that I've held for myself, and then her putting her own spin on it. And I'm like, oh, she was watching. How'd I forget? Because like she's watching when I don't too. So I find it to be the most beautiful thing. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Cheryl, last but not least, Cheryl, please provide your feedback.
So I was lucky enough to have nearly all of my grandparents live into their 90s. And I just became a grandma in January. So self-care has become even more important to me because in reflecting on that, I really want to be there for my granddaughter and I want to see her grow up. And the reality is that won't happen unless we keep ourselves with self-care and, focus on ourselves and keep ourselves healthy, in all the different ways. So
I appreciate that. I think what I'm getting from the whole entire panel is that, self-care is not selfish. You are like the head of the family. And if you're not good, the head is not good, the whole branches and pieces come apart. So you need to be there. And I want to give a few minutes for anybody that is watching us that has any questions in respects to what we just discussed, or some clarification, or even some advice that you're looking for how to make self-care a priority in your life. So we'll take a minute or two. Please feel free to type anything in the chat box, and we'll gladly answer the questions for you. So we'll give it a minute. Okay. I don't see anything right now. So we will move on, but however, it doesn't stop you from asking any questions while we are talking. With that said, the second question that, was very important that people would be is, I'm going to ask the panel, do you struggle with mom's guilt? Or have you had clients that have struggled, and how did you coach them to overcome it? So I am actually going to start with Cheryl to provide her input first.
So when my daughter was in school, I was very, very careful to make sure to balance her activities with my activities. And, I did things like when she was at gymnastics practice, which was in another town. So I was required to drive her, which meant I had to leave work early to get her to practice. While she was at practice, I then went to the library and continued working, or I went on a walk and focused on myself, depending on, what was going on that day. When I look at this question as mom guilt, in my current situation, I really think about the women that I work with, because we are all moms. And what we really try and do as a team is we really try and encourage each other to be willing to take the time off work and go see that sports event or go see that kids event at school or whatever. So that, and then we cover for them so that we're trying to support each other even within our small work team.
And I do have a question from the chat, but I'm going to wait until we've done this specific question and then ask that so we don't all get confused. With that said, for Stephanie, can you give your insight in respects to the question?
Sure, thank you. Well, for me, I used to have a lot of mom guilt. It can be, if you let it, it can be debilitating, and debilitating might look different for different people. It can mean not following your dreams. It can mean like not following big things to small. So for instance, when I was pregnant, I was working up until like 2 months before I gave birth, and I loved my job, but I was ready to transition away from it so I could create my own company. And when I had my daughter, I was working on my PhD and I was almost done dissertating. Now, mom guilt almost made me like not keep writing, not keep going to academic conferences and presenting. And I just knew like, I can't do that. So this is what I gave as a solution for myself. I just had all these negative thoughts rolling through my head. No one was saying these things about me. I felt like I couldn't engage in conversation. And say you're a mom with a toddler or older child, you might say, okay, these are the things I want to do, or these are the things I'm not good at. Whatever the hang up is, I took time and wrote a list of all the things that I felt that I wasn't good at because I was a mom now, right? Because of the physical, emotional, psychological changes that I was going through. And then I crossed them all out. I literally crossed them all out. And this can be the opposite. If you've had things that you want to achieve, I would say also make a list, get a journal. There are amazing journals that help you to really be productive. There are great journals about manifesting your dreams, visualization, meditation. All these things help me to get centered and realize that, okay, I just need a plan. It's like going to a new location that you've never been to before, because now you have someone else you're responsible for, right? So the same hardworking, productive you can still manifest just differently. So the biggest tip I would give to get over mom guilt is to imagine yourself going to a new town. You don't know directions there, but you know you got to get there because you'll feel fulfilled and your kids will see you like accomplish your dreams, which is the best medicine you can give your family, because then they know they can do it too. So the last thing, if you're a GP, imagine you're putting in like you're going to Boston. Well, that GPS puts out step by step directions so you get to your destination. Think about this as you doing that, right? You might not know all the steps, but if you start with the first few, you just keep going, and just build a support system. So that's what I would say for a quick answer of just holding yourself accountable by write down what you want and visualize yourself accomplishing that dream.
I like that. And I think, just to get different insight, Nishi, can you share your insight as well too? To the question, I'm sorry.
Yes, I recently had a client. So she just had her second baby after a very long time. So she had been my client a few years ago, I would say 3 years ago. And at that time her son was about 9 or 10 years old. And just like, 6 months ago, she had another baby. And she's coming back to me because now she's in a different age group. Suddenly, when you cross that 40 mark, it feels that, the after pregnancy is a completely different scenario. And she finds herself struggling a lot more than she was when she was in her 30s with the after pregnancy situation. So she came to me with like the whole intention is like, I want to take care of myself. I feel that my body is really not coping up with the postpartum syndromes, and I feel like whatever I eat just goes and sits in my stomach, and I feel very exhausted, and my energy levels are low. But I need to take care of my baby because she's so young. And, I could feel that all over her. And suddenly she had lost her nanny, who was a live-in nanny. And so she felt, the guilt of like, but I can't do this because who would take care of my baby? And, my first kind of word to her was, it's okay. This is fine. This, and, I'm listening to you, and this is fine. And just like stress that she had built up, just thinking about that situation was probably, adding a little bit more a burden to, the things that she had. It was maybe also causing her body to respond in that certain way. So we worked on basically, kind of embracing the situation to be like, this is not going to be today or tomorrow. This is probably going to be here for a while. So let's use this as an opportunity. This is okay. This is fine. And we're going to find a way to like get you the self-care you need. So embracing the situation. And then she obviously was running very short on time because she had started to work and she did not have nanny help and her baby was small, but she wanted to, kind of take care of herself. So we worked on, finding a really short routine for her where she could, step out with her baby or just walk around her house, that she could just do with the baby. So this is not something that she takes time away, and that was easier for her. And then working on, smoothie mixes and nutritional snacks that, when lunch and dinner becomes like a chore because you really don't have the time away from the baby, like how
That's
can
good.
you do meal prep? So just really, taking the situation and then folding in something that can be accommodated. I think that was how we went through it.
I like that, and I appreciate your feedback and your experience and what you did with your coach. And I think for Larissa, anything you can add in respects to how you dealt with it, or you coached somebody that dealt with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we all go through mom guilt, and there's different stages that we go through as well. I could say probably my latest stage, because I am growing. This little baby is growing inside of me, and I'm 8 months pregnant. So what I could do, before being pregnant and now is completely different, right? So it looks completely different. So we have a very active family. So we're always out, soccer, basketball, volleyball, we're doing it all, trying to be active and having fun. But, imagine me right now at 8 months and my little one saying, Mommy, come play me in soccer. Come play me one-on-one in soccer. And I'm like, and he's getting pretty good. He's 7 and he can kick the ball, and he might kick the ball, somewhere around, the tummy part. So I'm like, And, you do feel that mom guilt because, he's very vocal and he's very observant, and he'll say, Mommy, you haven't played soccer with me in months. And so making sure that, that line of communication stays open and he understands, why I can't go out there and kick a ball and beat him in soccer anymore, right? So I have to make sure I'm very vocal with my kiddos and they know what's going on. But just kind of like Nishi said, turning that into something positive and turning it into something that fits your lifestyle at the moment. So I'll say to him, you know what, go play soccer with your sister, make a little competition, game to 5, and then whoever wins gets whatever, right? And then afterwards, we'll cook dinner together. Afterwards, we'll make a treat, or afterwards, we'll do a craft box or something that I can actually do, right now. But making sure those lines of communication are open and making sure that your kiddos know why the reasons are so important. And yeah, it's just been a transition, of mom guilt, but transitioning that or transforming that into something positive is something that I've learned along the way.
I love that. And, congratulations on your coming to do so. I would like to say that. I can't believe you're doing what you're doing. You're a powerful woman. Go ahead with that. I think last but not least, Janice, please feel free to, give us some advice in respects to what you've coached as well as how you've dealt with it, if it's applicable.
Well, I'll start off by saying there was one specific time, and this is a funny, that I did not feel any mom guilt. And that's that guy back there, my son, who I He's now 33. He was 17 at the time. That's his senior picture. And I did not feel guilty holding his hand like a little boy, marching him into the barber's to get his hair cut. There was no mom guilt there because he had enough advance warning. However, let's bring it forward a little bit back to the conversation here. Mom guilt is a real thing. Specifically women that I've coached in my age bracket, and I do reference that a lot because I'm a little bit older in this situation, but women that are transitioning not only from the workplace, but they're in their midlife and they've decided that, okay, they're working full time. They take care of their house, they take care of their children, they take care of their husband, and they decide maybe to go back to school. So how do they balance all of that? And we've often heard the balancing act. And excuse me, a lot of women that I've coached in that area, we really look at the structure of their day, even if they can take 5 minutes. I know we all say, oh, I don't have enough time. How many times have we found ourselves scrolling? And I'm certainly guilty of it. So even if they take that time to take 5 minutes to kind of restructure their mindset, it goes so far and helps them out to kind of achieve their goals. So it's all about the shift. And, I'm excited to share that because I have my timer on. My time is up.
Yes. I think, going back to the initial, what I understand from everybody speaking in the panel is that, it does exist, mom's guilt. And, everybody it is okay to feel it, but at the same time, not to let it overwhelm you. Find solutions that works for you. If you're struggling, and seek some assistance from coaches or from anybody, and then find a way to help you going forward. With that said, for anybody who has any specific questions in respects to what we discussed right now in this specific question, what we discussed right now, please feel free to ask. What I'm going to do is go back to our initial question. We did have a question from one of the audience, and they were asking, what are some of the self-care things that you can share? So I'm going to ask each person to share one thing of self-care they do so we can move forward and answer other questions if they do come across. So I'm going to start with Larissa because, you're pregnant. So I'm wondering how you take care of yourself because a lot of people are watching and wondering, how do you self-care? Go ahead.
Woo! Girl, it's a lot.
That's what I said. That's what
I need a lot of self-care. Yeah. But if I were to pick one, it would have to be my morning routine. And that's something that I adopted probably when I was in college, playing college volleyball, and that's meditation. Every morning, I don't get much time because I have a 5 and 7-year-old that likes to crawl in my bed as soon as they wake up. But I set my alarm for right before they wake up, and I get 10, and I'm pushing 15 minutes, maybe on a good day, right? 10, 15 minutes of breathing, guided meditation, whatever it is. I like to challenge myself. I'll do something different month to month. Maybe it's a challenge. Deepak has a 21-day challenge that's going on with Alicia Keys that I'll be doing in the next, I think, day or so. So that's another challenge that I do. But making sure in the morning that I do that every morning because it sets my morning off right.
I like that. Thank you. And I'm going to go to Janice in respect to what's the one thing that you could add that you do for self-care?
You have to make a date with yourself. It's not enough just to put it in your calendar on your mobile devices. Write it down in your journal, write it down in your calendar, make that time for yourself. Physically block that time out. You will feel so much better that you did that for yourself.
I like that. And I appreciate, I'm going to actually add that. I hope I add that, but one day it will happen. So for Stephanie, can you share one self-care that you do?
Yeah, I would say running. Running was the first thing for me because I used to hate running. I couldn't run. I hated exercise at first. And then once I overcame that boundary, I realized it was a mental one more than physical. And so it became the first type of meditation that I did before I even knew what meditating was. And it combines a meditation and movement. So I would say, even if you don't want to run, walking and nature walking, looking at the environment around you, and then maybe try to get some music. I say always have a playlist, because if you feel like you're dancing while you're running, you can trick yourself into dancing and running at the same time. So that would be my thing, even though it's a long list.
I'm gonna have to work on that because I hate running. So I'm going to think about the whole dancing thing. But I appreciate that.
It'll trick you into it. It's like you're dancing in your car.
I'll take your word. So Cheryl, can you share one self-care that you do as well?
Yeah. So I'm going to echo something that Stephanie said during one of her answers. I can't remember which one. And that's one reason why I choose a big race like the 70.3 or like the 50K is because that means that the day-to-day training has to be more than just a couple of miles. It makes it harder to skip. But it also means that I'll have a training plan where I have a list. And so I'm checking off my list every day. So that's really what I need, that list, in order to get myself going. And so that's what I do. I will echo Janice or Larissa. I am very much a morning, although I've gotten out of the habit and I'm doing it later, but I recognize that if I do it in the morning, it sets my whole day up to be better also.
I like that. And sorry, Nishi, what's the one self-care you do?
Yeah. Morning routine, right? I cannot stress on that. It's just so important doesn't matter if you're a morning person, whenever your morning is. If morning is at noon, that's your morning, but have a morning routine. So for me, the morning routine is really two things that I do not miss, even if I have to get out of the house at 6 a.m. in the morning, is when I get out of the bed, I basically wash my face and I do Surya Namaskar. So if you are a yogi, or if you've known about this is the best way to wake up your body, concentrate on your breathing, get focused on what is it that you want to, it's like sun salutations if you're looking for that English word. What is it that you want to put your focus on? So this is really the time that I actually journal my day. I have a bullet journal and I journal my day the previous night, but this is really when I say, here are the 5 things I'm going to focus on today. And that's it. And I do not fret about nothing else happening. So that sun salutation not just gets my breathing in check, not just stretches my whole body, but it also helps me, get ready for what is it that I'm going to look at the day. And then a good breakfast, a good hot breakfast, right? Doesn't matter if that's hot oatmeal or it's eggs or what have you, but I take the time to sit and have a good, healthy breakfast. And that for me is non-negotiable. Those 2 things are absolutely, my thing every day.
I like that. And I appreciate the feedback. You all have great self-care. I think for me personally, if I have a long day, I like to dance. So I'm a soccer head. So I will play music and I'll just be jamming. I even do it while I work out, because sometimes working out doesn't do everything for me. I'm just like, God, that hurts. But if you listen to music, it's just going to. So I want to enjoy life. I think self-care is just basically making sure that, you take the time and you find something that you enjoy to do and it makes you happy and you shine. So I'm hoping that, all of our 6 of us are giving you some ideas of what you can do to help you with some self-care, because you need something for yourself. Regardless, as a person, you need something to take care of yourself and discover what works best for you. With that being said, I'm going to go to another question. I'm going to phrase it in a way if anything, or as a mom or as a woman, what if anything gets in your way of accomplishing your dreams? So basically, what things would prevent you from getting to your dreams and accomplishments, and how can you overcome that? Because a lot of people, want to succeed, but they have, health issues or even personal issues. What have you done to help or coach somebody to accomplish their dreams? I'm going to start with Stephanie. If you can provide some input or advice in respects to that.
Definitely. this is the heart of what I do. The first question that I asked on my podcast, the Blooming as a Habit podcast, is all about this, about following your dreams personally and professionally. And the first thing I ask people is, who are you and who do you want to be? And then we can move on to really think about the tenets of mindfulness, because so often when we have doubt, it's getting in the way of us. We're creating these limited beliefs. And once I realized that, like, the only limit I had was my mindset, that's not to say that we don't have obstacles in our way. We all do. But the question is, how creative can I be to overcome them? And if we think about it, like, there's a phrase I've heard from Deepak and Wayne Dyer. It's something to the idea of we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And it was along the lines of thinking about us having infinite potential as these spiritual beings. So we need to fulfill our calling. And so I thought about, like, oh, wait, yeah, why did I come to the planet, right? We all kind of have these things that are like little whispers, as Oprah says, that are in our ears that we need to do. And so I coach my clients to say, and I speak about it on the podcast all the time, what are those whispers? Because we all have them and we're all holding back. We think that, well, not all of us, I just mean, like, so often we've all come to a juncture in our life where we have this voice in our head, which some like to call the higher self, saying, do this, do this. And so I say to myself, this is the last thing I'll say, because so everybody else can speak. I say, do a SWOT analysis, just like businesses. S for strengths, W for weaknesses. I don't think about weaknesses, though. I think about, what can I improve? O for what opportunities are there for me to overcome, jump over, crawl under, whatever, this challenge. And the last one, what threats are in my way? And I would say that the ultimate threat is fear, false expectations appearing real. So let's analyze, what expectations do you have, but how can you be more grace? Like, how can you offer yourself more grace? Write your list, keep it moving. I'll end there.
So thank you for that, Stephanie. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to go to Janice in respects to getting her feedback on the topic itself.
You know, whenever you set out a goal, I think a lot of times we expect to go from A to Z and, like, boom, we're there. But it's really the journey. It's about taking those stepping stones. So instead of perhaps saying, oh my God, I want to lose 20 pounds because I have a wedding in 3 months, how about looking at it like, you know what, I'm going to start today and analyze my health in a way of not putting myself on a diet and caring for myself to build a healthy foundation. I think too much when we look at the wellness transformation aspect, we're putting so much pressure on ourselves to get to where we want to go. We don't appreciate the stepping stones along the way. And that is so important to your journey. So take that time to reflect, make little goals along the way. So, for instance, I don't call exercise anymore. I call it movement. And I am definitely a morning person. I do an hour of kickboxing, but that works for me. That may not work for somebody else. So find an activity that you love. If you decide tomorrow, you know what, I'm going to wake up and start my movement journey. Maybe you have an old hula hoop in the garage. Maybe do that for 5 minutes. Go outside, take a walk. Take it in little steps. You're going to build that healthy foundation, because you can't build a house with a roof until you laid your foundation and built the walls.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to go to Cheryl in respects to her insight.
So I think my biggest hurdle is that I want to do everything. Like, I see something and I'm like, oh my goodness, that could feed my soul, and I want to add it into my list. And you can't. And I keep forgetting that you can't do that. And you have to choose where you're really going to spend your time. And you have to be mindful about choosing where you're going to spend your time. But it's really that. I want to do so much, and the time just isn't there. So I have to choose more wisely.
unmute yourself, Mo.
I am so sorry. Nishi, I'm sorry. Could you please give us some of your feedback?
Right. I'd like to share a couple, and I agree with everything that was said here. It's absolutely something to observe ourselves and, around ourselves too, right? So a couple things I'd like to add. One thing actually I'd like to reinstate is self-doubt, right? That really gets in our way. And not just a dream, that self-doubt appears every day. Am I good for this? Am I ready for this? Can I do this, right? And how about we turn that around and say, I'm going to do this. I do not care if I fall on my face flat, and that's okay, because I'm gonna try it again. There is no shame in trying it again and trying it again, and maybe 10 more times, and in that phase seeking help. So I'd say, like, don't doubt yourself, just go do it and seek help, right? And I promise you, even if you don't succeed, you've made a friend along the way, and you have shared your view with somebody, and that is brilliant, because we've just expanded our network and our social circle and everything good that comes with it. And along that line, the second thing I would say is what comes in our way most of the times is really who we are surrounded by, our circle and our community. And this is it's a very sensitive topic. So I'm going to be very mindful, but I'm going to say that, time and again, we should reevaluate who we are surrounded by, and are they giving energy? Are they giving us the support and the critique and the encouragement that we need in our lives? And so we owe that to them as well. And do we find ourselves in that exchange? And if we don't, it's okay to say, I'm going to form a new circle. I'm going to seek. And it's amazing how many friends I have built on Instagram and Facebook that were strangers before. And I find them giving me such good advice and thoughts. And I find myself being able to share that with them too. And I think really find that circle, that support at any stage in your life becomes very important. So really keep doing it. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And last but not least, Larissa, provide us some of your input in respect to the question today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, we all go through challenges, and, I've never met anyone that hasn't been through a challenge in their life. And when I go to schools, I do a lot of keynote speaking engagement at schools. I really put that into my keynote speeches, and I really tell kids that challenges are going to happen along the way, and that's normal. It's really how we react to those challenges is, how successful we're really going to be in life. So I have a session that's called turning self-doubt into determination. And, I'm all about challenges and being challenged in life, just because in athletics, I've been challenged my whole life, being a girl, the only girl in a boys' league all the way up till high school, being the only African-American female on the pro tour. Like, those challenges, they're going to come, but it's how you react to that and how you face them is the top priority. So I really try to instill that into my young people, and taking those challenges and using them as determination. It's like the best feeling. If you turn it around into a feeling of, this is great because this is going to make me a better person. This is going to help me in life, and being resilient. I love that word, resilient. It's just going to make you better as a person. So really, really putting that into young people is a part of my mission.
I love what you guys are all saying. And what I'm getting to summarize from the panel itself is that, life is not easy. You are going to face some kind of roadblocks. Some are going to throw you back down, and you're going to be like, what am I thinking? But I think if you have focus and, again, if you are struggling to actually move forward in your dreams because of setbacks, there's coaches like us that can assist you, or coaches out there that can assist you. It's just, I think what we're trying to say is that, don't let those setbacks get you to where you want to go. And with that being said, before I go to the next question, anybody from the, from the audience itself that have any questions in respect to what we discussed and some of the challenges that you may be facing to accomplish your dreams that you are asking for advice right now, high level. So I'm just going to give it a minute or two, and then we'll move to our last question for today. I'm just going to wait. Okay, so we are going to move forward. Now, one of the last questions I would want to ask the panel itself is, what are some of the struggles you faced that you had to overcome in your own personal health that you can share? So, what you've gone through, what you discovered, and how you accomplished that. Some advice, high level, one or two. I'm going to start with Larissa, and to provide us some feedback in respects to her personal experience.
Sure. Personal health. I mean, pregnancy is pretty hard. And it's been different every time, which has been probably every mom's story. I have a boy and a girl now, and I'm welcoming another boy next month. And this one has created his own little pains and irks, and I have the worst tailbone pain ever. So I literally can't sit down for a long time. I can't stand up for a long time. So this work-life balance has been so off the past, month really of this tailbone pain. But knowing that there's an end, there's a reason, why this all is happening, the beautiful miracle next month that's going to happen. It's all really worth it. So I can deal with the pain for a couple of months, knowing that at the end of the tunnel that there's beautiful life coming. So I guess in a nutshell is, enduring pain, and it's okay, and knowing that it's a process. Trust that process, because in the end, something beautiful is going to come out of it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go with Cheryl with respects to, your personal health and what you've done to overcome that.
So as I mentioned at the beginning, I am in healthcare. And so although this pandemic has hit our entire world, healthcare was a big component of that. And at our practice, as I mentioned, we serve all aspects of health, including dental. And dental is actually a very large part of our practice. And so when the pandemic first hit, we had 3 months where our dental practice was completely shut down, which was a third of our staff. And we made it our mission to not reduce hours or lay off anybody. And we accomplished that. So we sourced people to different tasks within the health center. And so we didn't lay anybody off. But you can imagine for that 3 months, that was a lot of moving parts when that's a third of your staff that you're trying to work that through. So we made it through that. And then we received some federal funding. It's a federal program that our community health center was created through. And so when you're working with the federal government, there's a whole bunch of rules that they kept throwing at you that you had to comply with. And so there was just so many moving parts that I actually fell into a really pretty deep depression. And luckily I have a lot of support at the health center. We have a behavioral health department. I was able to access resources I need in order to get the help I need and be able to work through that while still managing my personal life and my work life and everything else that still had to keep moving. It couldn't stop. And so, that's been my biggest success this last year for my personal health.
Oh, I like that. I think, you took a moment and you took a time by your mental health. So I appreciate that feedback itself. I'm going to go to Janice to share her personal health and experience.
Well, that's a loaded question, and I'm going to keep it real short. For me, it was in my early 40s, and I was quite heavy. I was not healthy, and I was literally eating myself to death. I would think nothing of going through the drive-through at McDonald's and getting 2 Big Macs, supersized fry, and let's not forget the Diet Coke, so I didn't feel so bad. But I finally came to the realization that I was a pretty big girl, but it didn't matter that I was big. I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. I looked unhealthy. For me to look in the mirror, like take a really good look in the mirror and not recognize myself, was a very scary experience. And how I did it, I could write a book on that, and I have, but I really had to sit down that next morning. Okay, I don't feel well. How do I feel better? I need to take care of myself. Well, I don't want to go on another diet. I hate diets. I hate the word diet. And I just started there. I started out small and I joined the gym. The first time I went to the gym, I could only do 2 minutes on the elliptical, but I worked up each day. And it was those little steps that I took. And 140 pounds lost later, I found myself in a very strange position. People didn't recognize me, but I was still looking in the mirror and seeing the chubby girl. Long story short from that, I turned that into something beautiful, started my health coaching journey. And when people, and I've had people say this to me several times, oh, you don't have a weight problem. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I get that. I have this picture. I actually have it over there, but I'll pull my picture out and I'll say, do you recognize the person in this picture? That was me. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be hard, but the journey is so worth it because you're going to get healthy. Don't think of it as a diet. Think of it as getting healthy. That was my biggest struggle.
I love that. And thank you for sharing that. I'm going to go to Stephanie to share her experience.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies, for all of your stories. They're so empowering. My health journey, I used to, as I said earlier, I don't use the word hate for anything, but I used to hate working out. It felt exhausting. It felt painful. I didn't like to sweat. And I didn't like to sweat back when I had a relaxer in my hair and I had dreadlocks. When I sweat, the curls that my mom spent money on would sweat out. So, or my own money. And so it seemed counterintuitive for so many reasons. Like, why would I do this? When I was I think I graduated from college, my husband started working out. And I looked at him like, oh, have fun. But then I started seeing him change. And he had always been active with soccer, but he just changed. Like he was always a kind person, but he was just more mindful. And his whole outlook on food changed. So I was lucky enough to see that transformation right in front of my eyes. And it made me realize how I was being a bit of a couch potato and how, once again, like Janice said, it wasn't so much about how I looked necessarily, but I was how I felt. I felt sluggish and I felt like I didn't have any energy, and I didn't realize that. So it was a big wake up call. Being able to go from not being able to move on the treadmill to then like a 4-speed, a 5-speed, 6, and then 7, and then being brave enough to like get out on the road, on the side of the road, on a trail. These things were empowering because it opened me up to realize that my body could do a lot more than I ever knew possible. I used to look at people like Serena Williams and be like in awe, or any athlete, and just like, wow. And then there got to be a point where I was like, wait, I can do that too. And I've always been competitive, so I didn't realize I was competitive, but I was. And I just kept giving myself like little challenges, like Larissa said, and then taking it to doing a 5K, a 10K, and then a half marathon. And that was like, oh my God, my body can do this. And then I knew I was scared to do a marathon, but then I knew I had to do it. And it was the most empowering moment. And I would say to everybody, you don't have to do a marathon, but you can, because you actually can. And the last part I would say is I really liked Cheryl's point earlier about wanting to be there for her grandkids, because my grandfather having a lot of ailments related to food, and my dad having a lot of ailments related to food, it woke me up to the fact that now is the time to change and to make simple swaps for healthier alternatives without judging ourselves, because we see there are 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds that are still doing, triathlons. It is possible, riding their bikes. When I was growing up, I didn't see this. People were, they couldn't move very well when they were in their 60s and 70s. So seeing this, I really put this as a call to action to everybody to do what you can, and you'll see great benefits for your consistency.
And last but not least, Nishi, please share your experience.
Yeah, so I do have a personal story like Janice and everybody else here. About 10 years ago, I was in my, early to mid 30s, and I was a competitive American Smooth ballroom dancer. I used to dance nationally in the US, competing on East as well as the West Coast and the Midwest. And that obviously in any kind of sport, right? Weekly training sessions, and you got to train to kind of keep up with not just your energy levels and what you can offer, but also with the competition. And this is when I realized that while I look fine from the outside and I did fairly well in my competitions, I was not really up to the mark. I felt that I was pushing myself. I felt that, my trainings did not always, earn me, the satisfaction. And this was not just me getting out of the bed and feeling it. This was evaluating over a period of 6 months, when I started to feel in my body that I'm finding excuses to skip on the training. Why is that? Why is my mind telling my body that you can't do this? So this is when I realized that the definition of health was something completely different. And it is really that optimum functioning of your mind and body together, your physical body and your mental state. Junction feel really good, and for your body, that goodness, that's your health. I was not even close to what I looked fine, and I'm not overweight or what have you. I'm not there. And so that was the realization. It took me 6 to 9 months to then come to my professional, partner and tell them that I'm going to take a break, because this is working out. It was very hard for me. I was in the competition, so it was really where I looked up to me, and it was really hard for me to stop doing that and stop it for a reason. And that's where I started my journey of okay, what do I do now? Now that I know this is not, my health is not there, what do I do now? And so first thing for me was to find something that I can do every day. So I signed up for these 30-day challenges. They are free. And I did it for 6 months. So I did the little black dress challenge and that, and the Pilates and the squats and the planks. And, I was just all over the place. And I started Facebook groups where I just told people, hey, you want to do this challenge with me? It's, I will just put in what the challenge is every day in the morning, and I'll just add some motivational, things, because I'm just enjoying this. So I did it for a month, and I started the groups, and we ended up doing the challenges for 6 months. And that's where my journey really started, that, hey, this is, again, it's not hard. You just have to put yourself through it and enjoy the process. And it's okay if it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 months. It's okay. Or even a year. It's really building the and doing it. So that was number one. And after 6 months, I definitely saw change my body. I had a lot of people coming to me asking for help, which is where I started to help pro bono. I did not have an official anything at that point. It was really just me telling them what I did and how I did it. And that's when I realized my nutrition was completely down. It's that marriage of food and, physical movement just needs to be together, in whatever that is for you. But I was confused because, hey, you have all these buzzwords in the industry, this intimidating and this paleo diets and keto diets and all of that. And I don't want to eliminate bread. I want an elimination diet. And that stuck with me. It cannot be elimination. It has to be what works for you, but you also need to teach yourself. So this is where the whole thing of like, for me, when I started to talk to my clients, I need to teach them, why are we doing this? How is this helping you? What's your sugar level like? How do you feel at 3 p.m.? Are you reaching for the caffeine while it's not working out, right? And teaching that was the second struggle. And then, stopping certain bad things like waking up in the night and having a snack, right? And that just did miracles for me. And that's when I started Nishibi.club, where, people used to come to me and they're like, hey, I have some things that I need to change. I'm like, yeah, that's great. But don't think of it as like, oh, you're going to stop doing certain things and start doing certain things. It's a gradual change. Like you will enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. That's all I have to say.
I can tell the passion from you.
Sure.
I see the passion. It's there, and I appreciate that. And I think, a lot of what you said, I can relate. A lot of what everybody said, I can relate. I think for me personally, it had to be within the past year for me. I say that because of COVID-19. A lot of it, everybody, we all experienced that we've not been stuck at home. I'm currently still on lockdown. I can't leave my house. Cops can pull me over. So I can't literally leave my house. And it was really hard because I was doing everything. I was taking care of my physical health. And as Nietzsche mentioned, when your mental health, if you're not taking care of your mental health, it affects you tremendously. And I didn't realize that my mental health, or I didn't even pay attention to my mental health. So like the way I see it is that you can be doing everything right. But if you put the best gas or oil in your car, if you have a flat tire, how far can you take that car? Like you can't take it nowhere. So you have to make sure you take care of your engine, which is your head, right? So everybody experiences like, Larissa, if you're not mentally there, how are you taking care of your body? Stephanie, Cheryl, Janice, like we're not there. So for me, it's had to be within the past year because it's changed my whole way of living. So I bounced back. I smile now. So I've been able to, I smile now. So I think for anybody who's watching or even listening, and then what we're basically saying is we all have our own stories. We all health specialists as well, health experts as well, but it doesn't deviate from the fact that we don't have our own personal struggles. So if you have any specific questions or you're looking for, some insight on some of the challenges you may be facing in your health journey, please feel free to ask. We have roughly about 8 minutes left. So we are going to give you about, at least 2 or 3 minutes for you to ask your questions and get beautiful women in different aspects of the industry to provide you with some insight. I'm just going to take a moment. Just looking at the chat. If we don't, I am taking a moment, but if there's no questions per se, I'm going to ask each of our panel of experts to provide one specific thing of like one thing they could say to anybody who's watching that can be related to their health. Oh, I do have a question. So I have a question that goes, how does a busy professional working mom start a self-care routine? So again, just one response. We are short in time and I want to make sure that at least give everybody an opportunity to talk. So I'm going to start with Janice. How does a busy professional working mom start a self-care routine?
That is a great question. 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes for yourself. Set the timer on your cell phone. Maybe turn on some music and just start to walk around. Or if you're outside, take a walk. Take that time for yourself and be gentle and kind to yourself because it's a process. So start with 10 minutes.
I appreciate that. And Larissa, anything you can add on top of that?
Absolutely. For me, it's deciding what you actually like to do. You know what I mean? So 10 minutes to me might not be the same for you. So to me doing, a 10-minute quick HIIT workout, and that kind of makes me feel good if I put on some music. Tamina, she asked the question, she's like, oh my God, HIIT workout, no way, no thank you. That might not be your thing. So finding out what you like is so, so important. So go crazy and try out a whole bunch of different things until you find something that you like.
I appreciate that. I like what you said. And Stephanie, anything else you want to add on top of that?
Yes. Just, I agree. Like I always say, just reading, like, you have to find what your child likes if they're at the age where they can actually verbalize what that is. And if they're babies, I would say like just you have to go with the thing you think is moonshot. We all we know what I would say start by saying what like, even if you don't believe it's possible, what would you love your day to look like? I think it really starts there, right? Well, what's your like end game goal? And you have to believe that you can do it. And instead of thinking about, because your mind's going to go to what could go wrong if I choose to do this or take my baby with me to this place. Get a baby wrap. Those like, I forgot what they're called because I haven't had to do it so long, but they're like those baby wraps. And my family, my husband's side is from West Africa. So I literally learned how to like wrap her on my back, and we're going. I get the stroller, I run with her once to 8 months, put them in there, walk, like just find ways to be creative, join Facebook group blogs. And I feel like really getting a journal that is pretty, that you love, or getting like Google Calendar, iCalendar, because if it's not scheduled, it's not happening. And the last thing I'd say as a mom, you have to be flexible with yourself because you might need to have a lot of things on schedule, but then some things that are priorities, some things that are like middle priorities, and some things that are low, you might not be able to assign them a time because you'll have to follow your intuition to like, I think somebody said, I think it was Nishi, to fold them in, right? You have to find ways to creatively fold them in and just be daring and be bold, and your kids will like become daring and bold too. And it's like, you're all winning and you can't mess up because you're just doing your best. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And Nishi, for your insight, what's the stuff? How do you start?
Yeah, Tamina, I'm just gonna say, what was the thing you wanted to do yesterday and you couldn't get to? Just literally yesterday, right? Like, hey, I wanted to get a new plant, or I just wanted to go run out and get that thing that I saw on TV and for my grocery store. Self-care starts with really taking care of your thoughts and just doing them because they make you feel good. Each and every thought counts. So just don't ignore them. If that gives you that minute of pleasure, that is self-care, and you build on top of it.
I love that. And Cheryl, please share your.
I would encourage you take all the things that these other amazing women have said. But when you're trying to fit it into that busy schedule, maybe you do it during your lunch break. Maybe you leave the house 10 minutes earlier and you do it before you go into the door at work, or after you leave work, before you go home, you take the 10 minutes there, where then it's not feeling like you're having to leave your family to go do it too. Think about how your family is organized and find a place where it's not going to feel like an imposition on your life either.
I appreciate that. And I want to say thank you to my panel. You all had great advice. I hope we can help Tamina. I know she just had to leave. So with that said, I think we all had one thing to say, and, I appreciate it. We're about running out of time. So thank you all for being part of this conversation, for sharing your insight, your experience. And yeah, anything, I think we're done, you guys. I think we all did great. I think this was good. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
ladies.
Small.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Have a good day, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.